to pray. There's no angels where I go, only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Alrighty, hello everybody, this is Kirishima here. Now then, whenever we last left off, Deku, he and Kirishima, along with 3 other people, have actually been able to take down one of the animals that the Space Marines told them they needed to take down. Now, they have waited for everyone else, and most of the people have arrived, as they are then instructed by the Space Marines that they have done well. Now, they may all rest for a week. The next challenge you face will not be something you can prepare for. This will be something you are, sadly, not going to enjoy. Most of you will most likely fail, which kind of confused them. They've been able to pass and actually get through most of the trials they've been facing. So exactly what does he mean that most of them will fail? That's not something that's going to happen, is it? No. Deku, him, and Kirishima, they are talking. And he's asking her exactly why she doesn't use her quirk more. Because he figures if she's able to harden her body, then her quirk would be a lot stronger. Which she kinda just explains. She explains how she unlocks her quirk, and exactly what happened afterwards. She explains that she was in the church when she unlocked her quirk, and that apparently whenever she was born, her family was highly religious, and her parents were quirkless. And being born with red hair and red horns is not something they liked. So they kind of just dropped off at the church. She's always remembered it being a bit weird and, well, a bit lonely. The nuns found out about her quirk one day whenever she somewhat was praying, and she accidentally crushed a cross in her hand. So, that would be the explanation. Deku would somewhat understand this. As a week would pass, everyone's been hanging out and just enjoying themselves, along with hunting and doing what they normally do. Now then, with that being said, Deku and Kirishima, these two are actually getting a bit closer as friends. And Deku, he is actually highly respected by her, since he is quirkless, but he always seems to have a way to get through something. There's always a challenge that he is able to find a way to get through. So he respects his tactical mind. Now, with that, we will begin. This is whenever the Space Marine, he would walk out. Except he does not say a single word. Everyone just looks at him, as they can hear a bell going off. A lot of kids are looking concerned and a bit worried, while the other ones are just, well, a bit scared. If the challenge is today, then exactly what will it be? To which the librarian would step out. And the Space Marine would just say that every one of them is going to be taught by the librarian today. As the Space Marines would leave the church. And the librarian, throughout the entire day, would show each one of these kids everything. Now, if you guys are probably confused, to those of you who do not know, the librarian, they catalog and keep events that have happened. They basically make sure that events like something bad, like the Horus Heresy, it is written down in history, so that that mistake may not be made again. However, they're also able to see and actually look into the heads of each individual person using technology to pull out their greatest mistakes and their greatest flaws. Basically, this training, it's about your inner demons, as you can say. You pull forth your own flaws, your mistakes, and your problems, and you're directly confronted by them. This either physically breaks you, as in, you may not recover from it, or will leave you very, very well mentally scarred. Now, Deku, he's actually a bit frightened. He's trying to think about this. He's always seen the librarian just studying and, well, doing other things, but he's never actually talked to the man. So exactly what is he going to do? How are they going to be taught? Because every kid he's ever seen walk out just seems to be crying and or just, well, messed up. They seem to just be catatonic. Some of the kids just seem to be catatonic. Now, Deku, he's actually standing next to Kirishima, as he asks her exactly what she thinks is going to happen. She would turn, saying that this seems to be, well, I'm guessing he's showing us things that happened? I'm not really sure. To which Momo would just pop up. She would tap Deku on the shoulder, saying that it's quite simple. The librarian from some things the sisters have taught us. They seem to catalog things. Really? Like what? Well, whatever they witness. I'm not sure the whole science behind it, but it's very interesting. So, you plan on becoming a librarian? Well, no, I see myself more as a sister. Really? Yeah. Anyways. Eventually it would come to Kirishima's turn, and she would somewhat turn around and flash a smile, saying that this should be easy, right? As Deku sees that smile somewhat turn from a bit happy to turning to nervous and a bit scared as she walks in. After some time, she would walk out and Deku would see her face. She is not smiling. In fact, she looks mentally, well, traumatized. It's bad. And Deku would then walk in. But he hesitates, which confuses him for a second. He then just thinks that can't be right. Whoa. As he shakes it off and finally just steps forward. As the librarian, he would just close the door. And he would start talking with Deku, saying that he is quite aware of this young man's talents. You and many others have stood out. Along with, I heard you actually coordinated an attack against that, well, monster. Do you understand what that was, young man? No? I see. So they haven't taught you yet, as the man is flipping through this book, saying that this is going to be a bit weird, but please understand. Everyone has gone through this. Now, as the man would just place a strange-looking device on Deku's head, saying that this will be part of your training. Deku just asking exactly what it is, as the man would just tell him, facing what is wrong, and mistakes that have been made. As the man would just snap his fingers, Deku basically passing out in the chair. The man, he begins to look through Deku's psyche and his mind, as he's basically taking Deku back to certain events Deku's witnessed, and seen that have brought great fear, great sadness, and great sorrow in his life, along with mistakes he may have made in his past. Now, Deku, he is witnessing this, as he's looking around for a second. This doesn't seem right. Well, kid, you seem to be quirkless. Huh? Didn't you hear me? I said you're quirkless. Oh, I already know. You don't seem to be shocked by the news, kid. You're powerless. Yes? I'm not sure what you mean. As he would turn, looking at his mom. It's been so long since he's seen her face. he doesn't even think this is right. Her hair, he doesn't remember it being that color. He doesn't remember her being that, well, her face shaped that way. It's gotta be wrong. As Inko would stand up, grabbing Deku by the hand. She's squeezing a bit too hard though, as they would walk through the door, and begin to fall. As soon as that happens, Deku is trying to figure out what's happening, as he begins to look around. He's falling into his own mind, seeing everything that's ever happened to him, his memories, his life, and he would smash into the ground, as he stands up to see the church, and the giant man standing there, saying that this is a challenge. I have not told you this. Many people die doing this. Many people have. You do understand that. You either be successful or you fail. You do understand that war is hell. Don't you understand, kid? As Deku would look up, his eyes widening at exactly what he is seeing. This is wrong. What is going on? This, young man, is the Horus Heresy. A lot of Marines have died here. Many that were among legend. All because one man thought he could overthrow the Emperor. The what? Have you really not been paying attention? As Deku is basically pulled and dragged to a battlefield by the librarian, saying that the Emperor, he is the reason for all of this. All of us, and actually even possibly the reason for your species. Man was on the precipice of destruction eons ago. The Emperor stopped that. He defended humanity with his life. And he even laid it down just so that we could rebuild. We are all that remains of his legacy. This is what has been catalogued and taken. As the man begins to flip through the book more and more, showing Deku the horrors of war, and exactly how it has affected everyone. As Deku, he is staring at this, not sure how to feel, not even sure what to do, as he finds himself back in the forest. He is walking behind Kirishima. What? As she would turn around. Are you okay, Midoriya? Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just a bit confused. As Deku looks to his right, after hearing a branch crack, there is another boy staring at him. As he just looks at Deku's gear. Deku looks on his bull. He turns to see that he's actually carrying the meat, as he would just point in that direction. The boy, this time, not really listening. Walking forward to Deku, as Deku can hear his voice. You got me killed. That hunt, it was brutal. I should have just taken it from you. I should have taken that other creature I found. But instead I tried to drive it to be the best, and what did that do? Can you deal with that? Can you? As Deku begins to break down. He inadvertently got someone killed, just for trying to help. That can't be right. As Deku's memory would flash, and he would see the memory of a space marine. He looks down at the bolter in his hands, and he then looks up. As he sees an event that he's not sure how to feel about. He sees a tear in it, and he watches as the marine, it is basically being eaten alive by it, and ripped apart, as the other Marines would have ran forward and actually start beating at it, and trying to help their fellow soldier. The apothecary healing them, and actually trying to get them back on their feet, as they would have rushed toward the ship, getting the Marine successfully aboard and saving his life. Deku not even being sure how to feel about anything, as he would finally snap awake, sitting in the chair he was in, as he just stares at this man. The man says that is all, as he would pull his device off of Deku's head, saying that he has seen what he's need to see. Now, how do you feel about all this? As Deku just looks down. He's crying. That is a perfectly natural reaction. The man saying that you need to understand this, boy. Certain actions you take can go against the Codex. The what? The Codex Astaris. They are the rules you must follow. Some of these rules are specifically tailored to stop chaos. Chaos? They really have been keeping you kids in the dark. I see they were going to wait for actual training to do so. What are you talking about? Young man, I have told this thousands of times. The four gods of chaos. The only thing stopping in between them is us. We are here to protect humanity. And we're not sure exactly where those gods are. But we'll do whatever we can to make sure they are defeated. As the man holds out his hand and opens it, saying that this is combat stimulants. A young warrior, he cannot think with his mind racing and his heart beating out of his chest like a drum. Take this, and you will need it. Your body will also adapt to using this, since you won't get this, well, dizziness and fatigue afterwards. This will take many times, however, so you will need to come back here a lot. Now, exactly how do you feel, child? How are you? As Deku would just somewhat wipe away his tears, grabbing the stimulant out of his hand, immediately forcing it into his mouth and swallowing it, saying that he will do better. If it means protecting everyone, then I'll do it. As the man would somewhat smile, realizing that this boy, he is good. His motives are different. Usually people would have strived for, well, anything else back then. However, now it's just for the betterment of mankind. That is something he can appreciate. Now then, Deku, he would walk out, as he realizes exactly how calm he's gotten. But he does feel this dizziness the man was talking about. As the door would open and he would walk past Momo. She would look directly at him. Deku would turn to see her. He actually hasn't realized it, but her hair's white too. Why is that? Most of it's turned and, well, half her ponytail's white. That's weird. Now, as Deku would turn, he would see many other people. And this is what confuses him. He realizes exactly how empty this place feels now. He's trying to keep count of how many people are left, and this is just it. They've lost a third of their people, which makes Deku angry, as he would walk forward. Now, as soon as he does so, he would walk down the stairs and immediately run over to everyone else. As he bumps into somebody, he would help this girl up as he says sorry, turning to run, leaving this girl somewhat standing there and dazed. The girl, she had brown short hair, and seemed to do this weird thing with her hands. But, well, Deku didn't really think about it. So exactly, what are they going to do now? With that said, Deku, he would just walk over and see Kirishima as he would sit down, asking her if she got handed the combat stimulants. Her just nodding, asking Deku what he saw. As soon as Deku says the horror's heresy, everyone would start talking, somewhat trying to get over this. Since they're too far away from the church, no one should hear them. The Marine, however, he would tell them to talk quieter, and or just sit in silence. This is not something you are supposed to talk about yet. But you are children. And if it means that you are better, then keep your voices down. They have not gone through this trial yet. Now, as that said, Deku, he would hear what Kirishima went through, along with Momo walking up halfway through their conversation, with tears in her eyes, as she just sits down. Deku and Kirishima would turn to her, asking her exactly what happened. Her somewhat just nodding and saying that it was fine, it was fine. I just kinda not sure what to do, as they can clearly tell that she did not take the stimulants. So she's gonna be like this for a while. After everyone has gone through their trials, this is where the Space Marine, he would stand up, and they can hear his armor clanking. No matter how loud it is, that sound will always be louder and ring throughout their ears. Now, the Marine would just say that they need to get plenty of rest. They will be going through these trials along with their training is going to be amped up. If you thought this past time has been hard, understand, young ones, this will be truly, truly difficult. And what you face now, you must understand, this is for mankind. As the Marine would just march off, taking guard while the other children, they somewhat try to sleep. Some of them are able to sleep, but those are the ones that have taken these stimulants. The ones who haven't, clearly still troubled and bothered by what they saw. Now then, that is going to be where I leave this part off of, guys. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys later.